Greetings. It's me, Mama Cheeto, back with another podcast. This is Spiritual Corruption Part 3, I think, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all follow me, so I think this is Part 3. And I'm going to call this Ethics. Okay, this ain't even no voodoo, no spiritual shit, no shaming. I'm just going to share a timeline with my studio audience. Shout out to the Hive. The Hive is here. And I'm going to share this with the world because I believe everyone in the world deserves to know this, okay? So if you were here, the Hive would tell you I'm showing them a graph. Am I right or wrong? Everybody can see it. It's a graph, right? It's a timeline, okay? So I am in college right now. I want to give y'all a little backstory on how I got this information. I'm in college right now, okay? And I have very wise professors. Like, when I tell you some of them have doctorate degrees, like it's two of them, at least two of my professors have doctorate. I don't even know if you understand what I'm talking about. This is like the highest you could get in a subject. You feel me? Like they could teach you anything about that subject. So one of my teachers, this is the ethics book right here. Volume 7 edition is the book that I'll be learning out of, okay? And it's by History, Theory, and Contemporary Issues by Stephen M. Kahn and Peter Markey. It's the 7th edition of Ethics, okay? So before we got into the homework in the class, he said, I need everybody to get a sheet of paper out because I'm going to teach y'all something. So we sitting there, and he'll say a year, for example, the 8th century BCE, Homeric text, poems, philosophy, 776 BCE, the first Olympics, 753, Rome was established, 630, Sappho, 625, Thales, who created metaphysics, okay? So on and so forth. He got to Pythagoras, 564 BCE. Then he got to the Roman Republic at 529, okay? Then we got into them executing Socrates, 399. I mean, he gave us so many dates and deaths, and he was giving us like a mini synopsis backstory on each time frame that he gave us. So then we got down, he was in the 8th century BCE, right? So then we got down to something called the 27 BCE, the Pavi Romania, right? Which means the peace of Rome, right? And this is when it came, like it was like growing, it was blossoming, you know what I'm saying? Then 25 BCE, Philio of Alexandria, he was Jewish, right? Now watch this. He would start taking Greek and Jewish language and was translating it. So he would take Hebrew texts, you feel me, and Greek text and translate them back and forth, like mix them. Does this make sense? This is why you hear people, the real Jews, you got black people that's Jews. They have evidence of this being the children of Israel, right? They call them Israelites, right? And another thing, if the white Jewish people, they don't believe in Jesus as God, right? This is why. The Filio, BCE 25. Then between 3 and 5 BCE, nobody knows. He said, Jesus is born. I said, wait a minute. Jesus is in a textbook, right? Because when you be like, why is Jesus in my ethics class? Right? Oh, okay. So he said then by the age of 27, 23, depending on who you talk to, Jesus was crucified. And then it goes into Paul and Peter moved to Rome to spread this gospel, right? So then we go to the Epictetus, the Stoic people, the Romania, the Endos, which means the end of the peace of Rome, Marcus Aurelius, right? Then he's going into Ptolemy's empire crumbles, 270 BCE, 313, the Constantine and the Knights of Malta, right? So Constantine was like real spiritual, and he had like this advisor. I can't remember his name off the top of the head. This was the teacher was telling me he had this advisor. He knew the name, but I can't remember. And he was like, his advisor told him, like on some psychic shit, like, if you put this symbol on your army, you gonna win. The symbol was the motherfucking cross. And what I always tell y'all that my grandma said that the cross was the what? The Roman sword. Okay, so he put that on the shields and they won. This is what they call the Knights of Malta. That red cross, okay? 405, you got Augustine, medieval philosopher, 410, so off, and then 476, Rome falls. Now watch this. So I'm like, I got a question. You know, I'm not letting this go. The fuck? You know what I'm saying? I got a question. I got several questions. Okay, I got a question. You telling me that the Jewish people at that time, let me give you his name one more time, because I don't want this to be ain't no contest when this is documented, their history. This is how they documented it, okay? Phileo of Alexandria was changing the informations, how the Jewish people got the true Jews information, translating it back and forth, Greek to Hebrew to Greek, whatever, right? The only reason why the Roman Empire continued is because they went under the guise of the church. All of the great philosophers, you look it up, they learned from people in Kemet. Okay? That's who they learned from. They didn't get that information from out of fucking thin air. Thales, Hippocrates, Pythagoras, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, who taught the Greeks their knowledge, the ancient Greeks, particularly the philosopher Thales, Hippocrates, those ones I just said, were instrumental in teaching the Greeks their knowledge, okay? The first Greek philosopher introduced the Kemetic mystery system, which formed the basic of the Kemites' understanding the world. Hippocrates learned disease from Imhotep, a priest and astronomer and a master physician. Pythagoras, learned calculus, geometry from a Kemetic priest. Aristotle, a student of Plato, emphasized the importance of reason and observation and understanding the natural world. The Greeks acknowledged the credit due to the Kemites for the education, but also felt destined to build upon what they had learned from. So everything that we hear about Greek comes from the Kemites. No one debates this shit. No one is debating that. Okay? So you basically telling me they took a story, because we know when you practice African spirituality that 50,000 years before they was even celebrating Christianity, we was believing Mother Oshun and Eshu, or they was believing Osset and Asar before that, and before that they was you feel what I'm saying? Do I got to keep going? That Tamazul, like before that, you feel what I'm saying? Like before all of that happened. The only reason why they survived is because the Roman Empire put their information under that and continue as the fucking church. If you don't think this is mind-blowing, I don't know what the fuck to say. This is not opinion. This is not my fucking opinion, okay? This is something that you can look up for yourself to read in a fucking museum, anywhere, right? And the teacher was going into depth, like how they conquered Rome. It's like all in the book, but he was just like giving us a timeline of the shit that we was getting into. When I got up, I said, I'm just so thankful for your knowledge. You don't understand what. It was like he kind of like, you know how sometimes when you conscious, you still have like this Jesus shit, it's still there. Right? Because it's embedded in your ancestors and so many of them is connected to that shit. And they inside of you in your DNA, 77 generations, mitochondrial DNA. This is science, right? That's why it is. Do you know how many of our ancestors gave their souls and their life to the energy that they created just to have control over people's emotion and control over the people? Like I can tell you when they first started the democracy, when they first started the republic, this is all the same system from the same people. Still to this day. And think about how many people like wholeheartedly believe in that shit as like literal doctrine. 45 million people around the world. 60% of the fucking world believe that Jesus is coming back to get them. Almost 60% of the world. They believe in that shit everywhere. And it's just like, it's just their ethics. This shit is deep as fuck. That's why they don't know the exact date, the exact death. If this person was that important, they would have had his ass. You got a 50,000-year-old motherfucking mummy. Does this make sense? Okay. Common sense, right? Okay. So, what the fuck? This ain't even going to be that long. I just want y'all to let that shit cook. I just want you to think about what I said. Just evaluate this 10 minutes, this little 10, 15 minutes right here that you're listening to this. I want you to evaluate that. Go look up the book for yourself. Study the timeline yourself. Look up the timeline of the formulation of Rome and how it fell and what happened. Look it up yourself. This is not me being opinionated. This is actual how they wrote it down. Say that. Okay? Think about that.